Hello, it's Michael Bociurkiw here on this Monday, March 28th, 2022 in Lviv, Ukraine. First of all, the news coming out of Mariupol is very, very dire indeed. The mayor there says that about 120,000 or so people remain. The situation is very dire in terms of lack of access to water and food and continuous Russian bombardment that he's now pressing for the evacuation of the entire city. This is a city which had the same population as the city of Miami pre-war, 400,000, 500,000 range, something like that, but just been decimated by continuous Russian bombing. A lot of people do ask me, why is Mariupol so much of a focus of the Russian bombardment? Well, there are a number of reasons, but primarily is Vladimir Putin sees these lands as his. The Novorossiya, Mariupol is very much strategic in the sense that it's on that kind of arc between Russia proper and illegally occupied Crimea. Also, it's the base for the despised and feared Azov Battalion, which was created in 2014, and they're very fierce fighters, very much a part of the current Ukrainian pushback against the Russians. And of course, Mariupol is a very important port for a lot of Ukraine's exports, such as steel. So for those and other reasons, it's very, very important for the Russians to hold on to that territory and hold on to that they will by any sort of means they can deliver, and that includes pummeling the city with missiles, and sadly, in the meantime, lots of death and destruction. Lviv, where I am right now, remains calm, although there were air raid sirens twice today, as well as yesterday. The city, I would say, does remain on edge because it very much could receive strikes again. We have been told by Ukrainian government officials that no part of Ukraine can be considered safe at the moment. A lot of talk today in various quarters, both here in Ukraine and outside, of President Biden's remarks calling for apparently regime change in Russia. He gave those remarks at that very historic speech in Warsaw on Saturday. I wanted to play you a clip of my friend Josh Rogan of the Washington Post. I think he laid it very bare in terms of how this went wrong for the White House, and how we're in a situation right now where it's unclear what the White House policy is on Mr. Putin. Here in Ukraine, a lot of people feel that, of course, Mr. Putin must go, but if there's ambiguity coming from the leader of the Western world on this, it's not a very good position.
And Josh, to you, at the end of President Biden's speech in Warsaw, he said Vladimir Putin cannot remain in power. The White House tried to walk that back, but I think the Russians certainly heard it a certain way. What did you make of that comment from the president?
Right. Well, it would be one thing if the president of the United States intentionally called for Putin to leave power. It'd be another thing if he accidentally did it. But the worst of all worlds is if he intentionally did it and then the White House claims that he accidentally did it. Because what that projects not just to Russia, but also to Ukraine and to Europe and to Americans is a muddle. It makes it seem like the U.S. president and his staff don't know what they're doing and can't get their story straight. Now, as for the substance of it, to my mind, it seems a little weird that we wouldn't want Putin to leave power after calling him a war criminal. You know, he's murdering people every day. He's clearly a destabilizing force. But saying it does have an effect, maybe not on Putin, but on the rest of the world. And I think the White House should just make a decision one way or the other. Do we want Putin to stay in power or not? I think we don't, but I'm not really sure what the U.S. government position is right now.
And Michael, were you able to get reaction from people on the ground in Lviv to that specific portion of Biden's speech? I'm wondering how they received it.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about that on social media, and I watched a lot of Ukrainian television last night. And of course, everyone here would like to see the last of Putin. But one social media thread was half joking that perhaps Mr. Biden should hire Mr. Zelensky, speechwriter, and perhaps his speeches will go over a lot better. But again, let there be no mistake, the Ukrainians are, I think, increasingly disappointed, especially at seeing reaction like that, the White House walking back those comments. And if I can give you a quick example, you know, Mr. Biden said a lot about, you know, we're 100% with Ukraine, we're sending weapons. But yesterday, for example, there were 300 new recruits to the so-called territorial defense of Ukraine, which is a separate but integrated branch of the Ukrainian military. But it's for ordinary people to join, you know, bankers and plumbers and truck drivers. They went to the front line with automatic weapons, but with no body armor, no helmets. So it leads you to wonder what is going on in terms of those supply chains. There must be a much more robust response on the ground as well as in the air to protect what happened yesterday.
The other thing that has happened today, and I have it prominently in my blog, is the investigative outfit Bellingcat has determined that the Ukrainian delegation to peace talks that were held with the Russians in early March, they were targeted with a poisoning attempt, and it did not obviously kill them, but it made them quite sick. Included in the poisoning or whatever was Mr. Abramovich, the Russian tycoon, who was part of the peace talks, as is now confirmed by Russia. I personally believe that Abramovich was reportedly, or sorry, not reportedly, but included in this kind of targeting, if you will, to make it look like a smokescreen. But that the Ukrainian delegation were, I think the aim here was to make them feel afraid. But what it also does, it doesn't put future peace talks on a very good footing. They're supposed to continue in Turkey tomorrow. And I cannot imagine Mr. Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, going to peace talks with Russian counterparts and having to fear that he too could be poisoned. So it's a very delicate situation. I will leave it at that for now. Thank you again for watching this video. Please follow my website, michaelbociurkiw.com/news for my daily updates. I usually start these in the morning, and then as the day goes on, they develop further, so you can see it change in real time, and I'm trying to add more of my analysis there. I'd also like to thank you, my viewers, and my people who go to my website, also the Atlantic Council, where I'm a senior fellow, for their constant support and encouragement. Very grateful. Thank you very much. That's it from me, Michael Bociurkiw, here in Lviv.